Something's been happening in my house, and I don't know how to explain it. It all started a few weeks ago. I live alone, and I'm pretty used to the quiet. The occasional creak of the floorboards, the hum of the fridge, the usual sounds. But lately, there have been other noises. At first, it was subtle, a soft thud from the attic, a scratching sound from behind the walls. I told myself it was just the house settling, or maybe some mice. I even put out some traps, but they were always empty the next morning. Then, things got weirder. I'd be watching TV, and I'd catch a flicker of movement out of the corner of my eye. A shadow darting past a doorway, so fast that by the time I turned my head, it was gone. I started feeling like I was being watched. The air in certain rooms would get cold, and the silence would feel heavy, oppressive. I tried to ignore it, to rationalize it. I was probably just tired, stressed from work. My mind was playing tricks on me. That's what I kept telling myself. Anyway, then came the night I first saw it. I woke up around 3 in the morning, feeling thirsty. I got out of bed and started walking towards the kitchen. The house was pitch black, except for the pale moonlight filtering through the windows. As I passed the living room, I stopped dead in my tracks. Something was sitting on the back of my armchair, silhouetted against the window. It was a cat, a sleek, black cat. Its fur was so dark it seemed to suck in the light around it. But the strangest part was its eyes. They were glowing. Not like a normal cat's eyes reflecting light, but with a faint, internal luminescence. They were a pale, eerie green, and they were staring right at me. I couldn't move. My heart was pounding in my chest, and a cold sweat broke out on my forehead. We just stood there, staring at each other for what felt like an eternity. Then, as silently as it had appeared, it leaped off the chair and vanished into the shadows. I didn't sleep for the rest of the night. The next morning, I searched the entire house. Every closet, every nook and cranny. There was no sign of a cat. All the doors and windows were locked, just as I'd left them. There was no way anything could have gotten in or out. I started to think I must have been dreaming. A very vivid, very terrifying dream. I tried to put it out of my mind and go about my day. But the feeling of being watched was stronger than ever. That night, it happened again. I woke up with a start, feeling a weight on my chest. I opened my eyes, and it was there. The black cat, sitting on top of me, its glowing green eyes boring into mine. I was paralyzed with fear. I could feel its purr, a low, guttural rumble that vibrated through my whole body. It wasn't a comforting sound. It was menacing. I wanted to scream, to push it off, but I couldn't move a muscle. It felt like I was trapped in my own body. After a few moments, it leaned down, its face close to mine. It opened its mouth, but not to meow. It let out a sound that was a mix between a hiss and a low, human-like whisper. I couldn't make out any words, but the sound itself was filled with malice. Then it just faded away. It didn't jump off. It dissolved into the darkness like smoke. I was sleep-deprived and on edge. I started seeing it during the day, too. I'd be in the kitchen making coffee, and I'd see it perched on top of the cabinets, just watching me. I'd be working in my home office, and I'd catch its reflection in my computer screen, sitting in the chair behind me. But whenever I turned around, there was nothing there. It was toying with me. I was sure of it. I started leaving all the lights on, even when I slept. I played music constantly to fill the silence, but nothing worked. The cat would still appear, its silent judgment always present. Its favorite spot seemed to be the top of the stairs, looking down into the hallway. I'd be walking towards my bedroom at night and see those two green eyes glowing from the darkness above. Sometimes it would just sit there. Other times, It would slowly walk down the stairs, one paw at a time, its movements unnaturally fluid and silent. I'd run and lock myself in my room, my back against the door, listening to the faint scratching on the other side. I decided I needed proof. I needed to know I wasn't going crazy. I bought a bunch of small, motion-activated cameras and placed them all over the house. In the living room, the kitchen, the hallway, even in my bedroom. I felt a little better, knowing that if anything happened, I'd have it on video. That night, I barely slept. I kept waiting to hear the familiar thud or see the glowing eyes. But the night was strangely quiet. The next morning, I eagerly checked the footage. I fast-forwarded through hours of nothing, just empty rooms. There was no cat, no shadows, no strange movements. I was starting to feel defeated, to really believe I was losing my mind. Then, I checked the camera on the staircase. Just an empty, dark staircase. But then, at 3:13 a.m., the camera feed flickered. For a split second, the image distorted. I replayed it, slowing it down frame by frame. And there it was. For one single frame, you could see it. The black cat, sitting on the top step, looking directly into the camera. Its eyes were glowing so brightly they created a lens flare effect. And then, in the very next frame, it was gone. The camera feed went back to normal. This thing, whatever it was, knew about the cameras. It was smart. It was intentionally avoiding them. But it had slipped up, for just a fraction of a second. That tiny piece of evidence was enough. I knew I wasn't crazy, but I also knew I was dealing with something that wasn't a normal animal. That night, I decided to confront it. It was a stupid idea, I know, but I couldn't live like this anymore. I sat on the living room couch in complete darkness, waiting. I didn't have to wait long. I saw its silhouette appear in the doorway, the two green eyes locking onto me. "What do you want?" I said, my voice shaking. "Why are you here?" It didn't move. It just stared. The silence stretched on, thick and heavy. Then, it took a step into the room. It moved with a predatory grace that was chilling. It wasn't walking like a cat. It was stalking. I stayed frozen on the couch, my heart hammering against my ribs. It stopped a few feet away from me. The room grew impossibly cold. I could see my own breath misting in the air. It opened its mouth, and this time, a word came out. A single, raspy word that sounded ancient and wrong. It said mine. My blood ran cold. In a panic, I grabbed the closest thing to me, a heavy glass vase, and threw it. The cat didn't even flinch. It just let out that low, rumbling purr again. It took another step closer, and I scrambled backward off the couch, tripping over the coffee table. I crawled away, my eyes never leaving the creature. It started to change. Its form wavered and stretched. It grew taller, its silhouette becoming less like a cat and more humanoid. The two green eyes remained, floating in the shifting darkness. I got to my feet and sprinted out of the house. I'm staying at a friend's house now. That my house is being haunted by a shape-shifting shadow cat? They'd think I was crazy. My friend thinks I'm just suffering from extreme stress and burnout. He wants me to see a doctor. Maybe he's right. Maybe this is all some elaborate hallucination brought on by exhaustion. But I know what I saw. I have that one single frame from the camera. It's real. The thing in my house is real. I don't know what it is or what it wants. Sometimes, at night, I think I see it. In the reflection of a window, to faint greens. I think it's following me. I feel like I'm being hunted, and I don't know how to escape. I'm sharing this story because I need to tell someone. I need someone to believe me. Please, let me know in the comments. I need to know I'm not alone. Thanks for watching.